I know we're family and all, but if Bob needs a second body, it's not gonna be mine.
I think a fun conversation topic was, what would you do if you were in this situation? Could you stab your sibling? Do you think you could actually do that?
No.
I mean,
maybe how much? You,
how
but
much?
not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll stab you. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
When the trailer came out, it hit TikTok in a way that I really could never have anticipated. And they're saying stuff like, oh, I would volunteer for sure. Oh, only 20%? You would hit that in the first day. I don't know. Is it millennials? Whatever. Are saying like, oh, I would fully die. 100%. Why do people even bring kids into the world anymore? And that was really interesting and shocking to me because I really did not expect that. But it is like every single comment, 800,000 comments on our trailer about how all of these people would fully volunteer. And I think that's an interesting conversation that nobody's having that we maybe need to.
Caitlin, how's it going?
Oh, great. How are you?
We are doing so well. My name's Daniel.
My name's Shahbaz.
We're just so grateful for you sharing your time with us on the MUBI podcast today. We haven't stopped thinking about Humane since we watched it. So just congratulations on it finally coming out into the world.
It's thrilling. Thank you very much.
We had a chance to talk to Brandon last year, so now we're kind of just going down the Cronenberg line.
You saved the best for last, obviously.
Yeah, of course. And then maybe if we're lucky, we'll get King, your puppy, one day too, if they're available. So
I stay tomorrow. I guess go home for pets. He's a superstar.
That's good. Hopefully we'll get to meet him on the red carpet tomorrow.
Now, Humane is your directorial feature debut, and you're working from a script by Michael Sparaga. Where did Humane begin for you?
Humane began for me with an email from Michael that said, have you ever thought about directing features? Here's a feature that I made. I think you'd be great. And that was the beginning of the end. No, sorry, the beginning of the beginning. That was late 2019. I was about 1 million months pregnant. We had no idea that the pandemic was just around the corner. And I read it. I couldn't get it out of my head. I spoke to Michael, at great length about the script, and we worked together to sort of tonally shift it into a place that felt more like the kind of film that I wanted to make, which Michael was really, really happy and excited about. He's an incredible collaborator, which is incredibly lucky for me too. And the rest is history, as they say.
It's so fascinating too to see the transition from, being a visual artist and a photographer and going into the world of directing. And, something that we kept saying while we were watching the film was just how gorgeous it was. Even like we're thinking of the shots of like the mackerel being cut, and I'm like, oh my God, that looks like, let me hang that on my wall.
I wasn't sure if I was hungry after that
Yeah.
scene or not.
It's completely gorgeous. And obviously you're working with Douglas Coke, who's fellow Canadian, worked with your dad on Crime to the Future, which is another film that we loved. So how did your background in the world of photography and visual arts really help inform the look of Humane for you?
It really led me to Doug to geek out about lighting with him. And we spoke for weeks at length before we even started prep on the film about how we wanted to design the lighting of this film. Doug he's so experienced. He's so brilliant. He can do anything. He does gorgeous films. He does commercial work. He does everything in between. So for him, showing him references of things that speak to me, he knows exactly what he's doing. And he comes to me with suggestions. I went back to him with suggestions. And we did really spend a lot of time with the visual language of the film, and especially the lighting in the earlier half of the film versus the latter half of the film, and the transitional sunset moment, which is where it all happens.
Did you find it difficult being really in a different role this time around, where you're like, okay, I'm not really in control of the camera side as much? Did you find you're like, oh, okay, I'm flexing different muscles, or did it feel all the same for you?
I love it. You know what? When you are a photographer, you have to carry so much gear. And if for nothing else, like that's why I'm doing this job now, because I spent so many years carrying so much gear around.
That's part of it.
No, but I am so used to being the one who presses the button and captures the image. Everybody comes together at a photo shoot to prepare you for this moment, and then I'm responsible for capturing the image. It was difficult at times to remind myself that whatever plays out now, I actually can't control it in any way. I am here to prepare, to speak to everybody, to express what I want my vision to be. And then I literally step back and I would have moments of nerves where I'm like, oh my God, the camera has to do this and the people have to do this. And I was like, oh wait, I don't have to do anything. I just sit here and watch and enjoy. And that's a really unique feeling. And it's also very hard for someone who spent so much time being physically responsible for the outcome. But it's also very freeing in a way because you really do just get to watch and learn and enjoy.
You had this amazing opportunity to also shoot in Hamilton, and you have the all-star Canadian cast in this film. How important was the Canadian representation when going through the entire process?
I mean, there's nothing better than shooting at home. I know that was also a big selling point for some of the cast because shooting at home is essentially a gift. And the idea that this group of talented Canadians can come together and make a Canadian film that just feels like a fantastic wild ride. It's just, I've always felt good about working at home and the Canadian film industry in general, and knowing from being on so many sets, the kind of talent that we have here, it's unmatched anywhere else in the world. Our actors, our crews, our locations, we have it all. So why look anywhere else? I mean, not to say that I would never make a film somewhere else, but there is something very special about being able to share your first experience with fellow Canadians and also people I've known for a long time and love and respect.
What's something so fun about it too is like even like down like to some of the music in the film, like you're opening the film with Trooper, and like you're getting a lot of like the CanCon in there too, which is awesome to hear and to see, and just seeing like the work that you've done outside of this film with Canadians, and like just going through your list of like, oh, you're shooting this and you're shooting this, and obviously something you just posted recently about like shooting with Steve Martin, which is incredible, which we could have a whole conversation on that. But we really wanted to ask you, but I know. We spoke to Morgan Neville about that doc, and we just geeked out about Steve Martin forever with him. But something that we loved so much too is that you shot the album cover for Drake's Views, which was probably one of the most iconic album covers in the last
put this CN Tower on the map,
right? It really put CN Tower on the map for a lot of people. What do you remember about collaborating with him to find the look of that album cover?
I remember everything. I remember every single thing. That was it was a life-changing phone call, I'll tell you that much, from his team. I had a 3-month-old baby. Basically anything that could be stacked against us in terms of just natural disasters, not actually, but a snowstorm, car battery dying, people getting migraines, people dropping off the crew. It was an experience. It was an experience. It's one of those experiences that you say, I can do anything now, truly. His team were the ones who came up with the idea for that shot. My team figured out how to execute it. And I had no idea how viral that would go. How could you work for a decade and nothing ever goes viral because, when I started working as a photographer, there was no Instagram, there was no social media. So this idea that something could blow up in such a major way was completely new to me. It was Passover, I think. I was like sitting at my Seder and like my phone was exploding because the picture came out and I had no idea it was going to come out that day. And it's very memorable as well. But I do remember every single thing about every single moment of that shoot.
No, I love that. That's amazing. Now, one of the things that we loved so much about Humane was that after watching it, it really gets you thinking, and you have so many questions after watching it. What are some questions that you're hoping audiences will be asking after watching Humane?
Ultimately, my goal is for people to enjoy the film and have fun. I think a fun conversation topic was, what would you do if you were in this situation? Could you stab your sibling? Do you think you could actually do that?
No.
I mean,
maybe how much? You,
how
but
much?
not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll stab you. Yeah.
But I think that so much of it has to do with morality and personal ethics and what is right and what is wrong and what you would do if you were faced with a situation like that. I couldn't stab my brother. I know that for a fact. So, I would be dead, I guess. But I would sooner sacrifice myself. You can tell him that I said that. But no, I think that I hope that it asks the questions of what would you do if you were in this situation, and how would you react? Because there isn't really I'll put myself in those shoes, the environmental collapse, I'm being asked to kill myself. But funnily enough, when the trailer came out, it hit TikTok in a way that I really could never have anticipated. And all of these TikTok people, and I'm not on TikTok and I don't understand it because I'm old. They're saying stuff like, oh, I would volunteer for sure. Oh, only 20%? You would hit that in the first day. And it's all of these, I don't know, is it millennials, whatever, are saying like, oh, I would fully die, 100%. Why do people even bring kids into the world anymore? And that was really interesting and shocking to me because I really did not expect that. But it is like every single comment, 800,000 comments on our trailer about how all of these people would fully volunteer. And I think that's an interesting conversation that nobody's having that we maybe need to. I mean, to just check in on your millennials and make sure they're okay.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. And I'm so excited to see the reaction once the film finally is out. Caitlin, we're so grateful for your time. We cannot wait to see how everyone reacts once they finally watch this. And I hope that we get to talk to you again.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, 100% you will.
Thank you so much.
See you.
Bye.